We're good. Hello everyone, welcome back to another Friday Lunchtime live. I am super excited for this one because we are following on from the athleisure event that we had 3 weeks ago, 21st of November. We've been doing this all week. 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had the Athleisure Decorating Expo and we talked to everyone that attended all about how to heat print on athleisure, obviously. And a big question that came up was polyester. Now, heat printing on polyester is one of those things that can be a little bit tricky, regardless of where you get your blanks from. It's just a bit more of a sensitive material, and when you put heat on it, it obviously reacts. So we've got a couple of tips and tricks on how to successfully heat print on polyester that we're going to share with you all today. So before we get started, I just want to say welcome. Thanks to everyone for joining me live. If you're watching back on demand and you have any questions, still drop them in the comments box. We'll get back to you as and when we can. Let me know where you're watching from today. If you're in the UK, if you're watching from the US. I wonder if our regular viewer Darren is attending today. If you are, hi Darren. Yeah, just let us know where you're watching from, and if you have any questions. I have got Beth with me as well today, so she'll be shouting them out as we go. Hello everybody, we are back. So I'm just going to dive straight in today. So the first thing I want to discuss obviously is the finish on polyester. So this is 100% polyester t-shirt from Tri-Dry. And as you can see here, we've managed to successfully fuse an ultracolor heat transfer onto this. And if I hold it up, it's not the straightest of placements, no judgment please. But this has got no box marks on it at all. This looks absolutely perfect. However, if you compare it to the one that I fused incorrectly earlier today, hopefully this will show up on camera, but there is a considerable press box on that. Is that visible to everyone?
Yes, you can see that.
Perfect. So this was fused without the tips and tricks used that we're going to share with you today. And as you can see, if you were to send this to a customer, or you were to print this and ship this out, it doesn't look very good. This is not the kind of quality product you want to be sending to your customer. And there's no guarantee that this will come out with time either. So we want to make sure to completely eliminate how this has come out. So we're going to get rid of that one, and we're going to go from scratch and show you how to print a good one like this. So let's get straight into it. So like I said, 100% polyester tee. I've got a few behind me today. Now, I want to talk about something called the arch method. Now, this is something that Josh in the US, Josh Ellsworth, one of our educators, has been talking a lot about. He mentioned it in the masterclass, and it's been a really good and helpful tip and trick for everybody that is printing and having problems with scorch marks, press boxes, and that kind of thing. So the arch method essentially is 4 different points that you need to consider when you're printing on polyester. So the first one is accurate pressure. So when you're printing onto any garment, whether it be polyester or a more sensitive fabric, or whether it be just cotton, it means that you have to have the right temperature pressure to do so. So if you're over pressuring your garment, you're going to leave a press box regardless of whether it's a sensitive fabric or not. So just making sure that you've got the accurate pressure when you're pressing is vital. So we've got the dual air fusion with us today. So I'm just going to show you how this looks on this machine. So thread the garment on nice and easy there. We've got the quick slips. You can see that just glides on really nicely. When we call the press back over, you can see on this screen, hopefully, can you see on here? It's a little bit zoomed out, but we have the digital display here. And on here, we've got the temperature readout, the pressure readout, and the timer. Now, something that Hotronics is famous for is their digital readout. And the pressure digital readout is something that personally saves my life on a daily basis when it comes to heat printing. And I think it's one of the things that, in my personal opinion, is one of the best things about Hotronics presses, along with many others, that it just means that you can be 100% accurate every time you're heat printing with the pressure that you're using. So for example, because we've got the power Platin on here that we're going to come into later, we've got it set to that, but it's on 39 PSI. So that's around a 4 to 6 on your auto open or your Fusion IQ. But because we're using an air powered machine today, it is set in PSI, but we're using medium pressure throughout. So if I lock this down, it gives me an accurate readout. It's flickering between 39 and 40. That's how accurate it is. And that just means that we have perfect pressure. So just making sure that before you apply any transfers, that you've got the right settings on your press. If you are overpressuring your, oh, that was a bit static when I pulled that off of there. Probably going to give someone an electric shock now. If you are overpressuring, like I said, whether it be on polyester or whether it just be on a cotton t-shirt, you will encounter, or you're more likely to encounter, a press mark if you're overpressing. You don't need to overpressurize if you are using transfers like our Ultracolor or screen print. They don't need to be really, really heavily pressured to be applied. They go down at their settings that we recommend. So a lot of people think that in order to get transfers to stick properly, you have to really, really like jam them into the garment. This is not the case. If anything, all you're going to do is damage your heat press. So over time, if you overpressurize it, you are more likely to see a bit of a buckle in it and you'll break your press. Not on the first, second, or even 50th garment, but over the years, you will end up damaging your press. And it's just unnecessary. You don't need to be overpressurizing. We've got things slipping behind the camera. So that's the first one, which is pressure. So Arch method, number one, accurate pressure. Now, because we're using the dual air fusion today, this is air controlled. So as you saw, I didn't have to do any form of adjusting to that pressure when I put the t-shirt on. I just pressed these two blue buttons and it came down and did it all for me. Now, that's one of the main reasons that I chose this heat press today, because it does work out the pressure for you. On machines like the Auto Open and the Fusion IQ, you still get that digital readout for the pressure, but there's a pressure knob on the top. So around about here, there would be a black pressure knob, and you would just twist it left to right to adjust your pressure. With the dual air fusion, you don't have to do this because it's air powered. So all of the pressure is controlled through the air compressor. And it works it all out for you. So it just makes life a little bit easier, especially if you're printing onto athleisure. So number two, so Arch method A, accurate pressure. The second one is reduced temperature transfer, so R. Now, when we talk about this, we mean what temperature are you applying your transfers at? Now, at STAHLS UK, we have three different types of heat transfers. We have screen print, which goes down at 160 degrees. We have DTF, our Ultracolor Max, which goes down at 145 degrees. And we have Ultracolor Transfers, which is my personal favorite, one of the most popular, and it goes down at 120 degrees. So a significantly lower application temperature. And this is the second point of reducing scorch marks. So think about it, if you're going to apply a transfer to a garment at 160 degrees versus 120 degrees, that's a significant difference in transfer temperature. And that means that there's going to be a lot less heat going into the garment with the application. So if you've got medium pressure and that's all set perfectly fine and you're still finding you've got press marks, consider using a transfer that fuses at a lower temperature, for example, 120 degrees like Ultracolor does, and that will immediately reduce the amount of heat that you have going onto your garment. So that's step number two, and it's a really easy one to do. Do we have any questions coming in so far?
No questions yet, but we have had a couple of people pop up and say hello. So we'll say hello to Josh at Endless Custom Graphics, who's with us on Instagram. We've got Renster Design saying hi there in the UK, because we asked everybody where they are.
Yes.
So yeah, pop in, guys, say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know if you're fusing polyester garments at the moment and what your experiences are.
Cool, amazing, thanks Beth. So next up, let's move on to the third element of heat printing polyester with the Arch method. So A, R, C. C is cover sheet. Now, majority of you watching will probably be familiar with this piece of paper right here. This is a release paper. Ignore the massive crease in the middle. I should have got a fresh one for this live video, but here we are. So release paper is what we recommend you put over the top of your transfers when you're heat printing, because if you are using, for example, a cold peel transfer, this piece of paper will will stop the carrier sheet lifting when the press opens before it's ready to be peeled. So Ultracolor, for example, is a cold peel transfer. So we don't want to lift that carrier any sooner than when it's cold, because that can affect the finish of the transfer. If you peel it hot and it's meant to be peeled cold, it could affect the adherence of the transfer. There's so many things that just waiting a couple of minutes for it to cool down will save you from. But the cover sheet is normally the first port of call for that. Now, obviously, from looking at this, this is quite a thin piece. It's literally just like baking paper, and it's really, really thin, and it doesn't offer much protection to your garment. So if you have checked your pressure and that's accurate, you're using low temperature transfers like Ultracolor and that's all going well, and you're still having issues with scorching, then consider the cover sheet that you're using. So like I say, this is option 1. Option 2 is this one. This is what we call a grip flex pad. So this is thick rubber sheets. I'll try and do a close-up for everybody watching so everyone can see what it is. TikTok as well. I've got so many cameras going on today, I don't really know where to look. And basically this offers an extra layer of protection for whatever garment you're fusing. So if I was to place my t-shirt onto here, place my transfer down, I would then just lay this over the top, and then when this upper heated plate comes down, it's an extra layer of protection between the heat and the garment. So that's just the third step in trying to reduce the scorch marks. So the only thing I will say with this is make sure if you're using it that you remember you might have to increase your temperature slightly. And whenever we say that, we tend to get questions about, well, if you're increasing the heat, isn't that going to increase the chances of the scorch mark? But the reason you need a slightly increased temperature, not a lot, I would probably go up by maybe 5 degrees at a time and see how it works. It may only be 10 or 15 extra that you need. But this still offers a decent layer of protection. And the heat just means that it has to be a certain amount of heat to get through the pad to the transfer. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to cause a scorch mark. It just needs a little bit more for it to actually apply, but it still offers that extra layer of protection. So this is the third thing I would urge you to consider. These are around 40 to 50 pounds per sheet. They're really not that expensive, and they do last and last and last. Like we've had this one in the Innovation Centre for years and it's still perfectly fine and we use it all the time. So that's number 3. Number 4 is probably the one that we get the most questions about. So the fourth and final step to the arch method is the heated lower platen. Now, I've been using the normal platen, the 40x50 that comes as standard with the dual layer fusion with the quick slips. But this right here is what we call a power platen. And if I put my hand on top of here, this is hot. It's got heat coming from this power bank in the middle, which you can see on YouTube. And this is set at the moment to 120 degrees. So this power platen is bringing heat from the underneath of the garment, and it's set to the same temperature as what I would originally set the top platen for if I was applying Ultracolor at 120 degrees. Now, the reason that we use the lower heated platen is so that the majority of the heat for the application comes from underneath the t-shirt, not on top of it. So A, it's closer to the adhesive because the adhesive is obviously underneath. And B, if there are any scorch marks at all from the heat, they're going to be on the inside of the garment, not the outside. So chances are there won't be a scorch mark, but if there is, you won't see it anyway because it will be on the inside. So let's fuse on here and show you exactly how this works. So our pressure is already preset, which is perfect. We're using Ultracolor Transfers today, which apply at 120. So like I say, load the t-shirt on there, super easy. Take a transfer. We're using Ultracolor today. So this is one that we had for the athleisure event. We've got the slight gradient going through here, making the most of the full color capabilities. So we're just going to place that on there, low temperature transfer. Cover sheet, step 3, we're going to be using Grip Flex, like so. Place it over the top, just like that. And then we're going to be using the lower heated platen to ensure that we get perfect application. So this is currently set to 106 degrees, so a lot lower on the top than what you would originally apply it from. But because of the underneath heated platen, we don't need all of that heat to come from the top. So take the Grip Flex off, place this to the side to let it cool down. I'm just going to lay it down on the table here. Is that going to stay there? And let it cool down because, like I said, this is a cold peel heat transfer. Do we have any questions at this stage in the live?
Yes, so we're getting a couple of questions in about sublimation, which is interesting. So a couple of people are asking if the Grip Flex is suitable to use with sublimated prints. Someone else is asking, can we sublimate onto black t-shirts?
From a sublimation point of view, I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure. But if you leave, like I say, leave a comment and we will 100% get back to you on that. I would assume the answer would be yes, but I'll double check before I confirm that answer with you guys.
And then we've got a comment up here as well. Let me find it. from NY Soccer Academy. It's more of a fulfillment question, actually. Can you guys provide club crests for coated nylon raincoats?
I mean, majority of the time, regardless of what you're printing onto, there's normally a solution. So yes, we do provide the transfers, the vinyl, the badges, whatever it is you need. And if you need help figuring out how to apply that to a nylon jacket, then of course we'll give you a hand with that. So yes, we absolutely do. Just head online to custom.stahls.co.uk if it's transfers that you're after. And you can get your transfers ordered.
It's also worth saying as well, if you do have a particularly like a different request to something that you haven't really seen across social media or the internet before, give us an email, drop us an email, pick up the phone, speak to our customer service team. We have a really rigorous team here that will find a solution for you always. So yeah, just give us a call, guys.
Yeah, cool. Is that it for now?
We have a question on TikTok from Victor. Park Print from Essex watching. Hello. Brilliant.
Hi,
we're in Essex as well. Looking for a new print and cut solution. Can we recommend?
Print and cut. So, I mean, it depends what you're using it for. There are a couple of print and cut options on the website, I believe. Whether or not we still do those, I'm not 100% sure. But if it is the print on demand, the heat print on demand side that you're looking for, I probably would lean more towards custom transfers. But like Beth said, if you drop us an email, drop us a comment about the specifics of what you're trying to do, then we'll absolutely help with a solution for that.
That's everything for now.
Perfect. Okay, so in the time that we've answered those questions, which wasn't very long at all, this transfer has gone completely cold now. So I'm just going to quickly place it down here and peel it. And it's important that with the peel, you always do, if I can get the corner, one smooth motion like so. So as you can see, clean carrier, there's nothing on that. Everything has completely adhered to the t-shirt. And here we have our finished product. So 100% polyester t-shirt. We've got a really nice finish on that. I'll just give you a close up on the colours there. Really soft, thin finish. Sorry, Instagram,
no, that's okay.
Forgetting you're there.
I'll follow you.
There we go. Yeah, so we've got a perfect finish on this t-shirt, and all it took was those 4 steps. So regardless of what you're printing onto, if it is athleisure and it is polyester garments, then 100% I'd recommend the arch method. And like I said previously, even if it's cotton garments and you're having a little bit of a problem with them, I know that we've fused onto black cotton fleecy hoodies before, and because they have, you know, a little bit more of that luxurious padding in them, it does cause a slight box where you compress it. So even just things like that, sometimes the lower heat and the grip flex can really, really help. But definitely make sure that your time temperature pressure is accurate, you're using the correct cover sheet, you're using that low temperature transfer, and then if you need to use a power platen, that would be your 4th and final step. At that point, if you are still getting scorch marks on your garments, I will be absolutely amazed. But if you are, then let us know, because we'll help you out further with that. But yeah, majority of the time, this 4-step method is all you need. So do we have any further questions? I'm very aware that we've kind of whizzed through the arch method today, but it really is that simple. It's not a massively long, complicated subject. So
we don't have any further questions at this time.
Okay, well, in that case, then this has been a very, very short live today. I have nothing else to add, to be perfectly honest with you. Like I said, super simple topic. I'm not going to overcomplicate it, because heat printing onto sensitive garments like polyester really is that simple. I'll just recap the different products that we've used so far. So 100% polyester t-shirt here from Tri-Dry. This is there's a tag in this, the TRO 10. I believe this is their most popular 100% polyester, like basic running tee. And it does have a really nice, soft, smooth feel to it. Some polyester tees can feel a little bit either like grippy or a bit sort of rough, but these ones aren't. They're really nice and soft. The transfers that we put on them were Ultracolor. So I have another one here. I can show you. Our Ultracolor transfers. So full color capabilities, like you can see here with the gradient that we've got in the press. I'd really recommend giving these a try, even if you're not fusing onto polyester, just because the detail and the color that you can achieve with these is fantastic. We utilize the Grip Flex pad here, which, like I said, is the thicker cover sheet. So offering that extra layer of protection when you are heat printing onto garments. And it doesn't just have to be polyester that you use these with. If you're printing onto, for example, a jacket, which I can show you from the event that we did. So for example here, this is a puffer jacket. I know we're getting off the topic of polyester, but this is really cool, so I have to show you. This puffer jacket that we've got, we managed to put Ultracolor onto here. And you can see there's like no marks on there whatsoever. It's gone on perfectly. And this, when I first applied this, I really thought that it was going to take a few goes of testing and different application methods to get it right. But first time on Ultracolor with the Grit Flex, and it was absolutely fine. So even if it is other items like this one, don't be afraid to give it a try. Grit Flex is a fantastic accessory that will make your life a lot easier when printing onto different things like that. And then last but not least, we use the Power Platin. So when it comes to using the lower heated Platin, I do recommend that you only use them with the air powered machines. So we have the dual air fusion with us today, but we do also have a single head version of this machine. So you just get the one workstation, but it does obviously bring the price of the machine down. And then that's because of the air controlled pressure. So if you're using a Power Platin with a manual press, like an auto open or a Fusion IQ, you can use them, but it's a bit more risky because we've had, you know, issues before where people over pressurize them, and because these have heated rods in them, it's very easy to damage them. So the best recommendation is that these are used best with air powered machines, just because we don't want you to break your lovely equipment. Yeah, and that's pretty much everything that we've used today. So I'm going to wrap this up very quick live today. Thanks for those that joined me. And like I say, if you do have any questions and you're watching this after the live event has ended, do make sure to still drop them in the comments and we can get back to you. Next week's live this is my last live event of the year. I am actually done with Friday Lunchtime live after today. Next week,
until 2024, might we add?
Yeah, I only get like a week off. I say it's the last one. We're taking like 2 weeks off. So next week is going to be Andy's week. He's doing something around screen printed heat transfers, I believe. So make sure you tune in to watch that. And then from the 20th, so I believe next week is the 15th, the Friday, 2 or 3 Fridays after that, we're not doing a live, but we have got plenty of YouTube content and lots of social media content going out over the Christmas break. So don't worry, there'll be plenty of heat printing educational videos for you to watch. And then we'll be back the first Friday in January, which I believe is the 4th or 5th of January. We'll be back for a live on that day. So thanks very much to everyone for watching. And yeah, we'll be back next